Hello, welcome to Let's Talk Real Estate and Stuff. If you're not following us on YouTube, why are you here? How did you get here? I'm not quite sure, but you should be following us on YouTube. I've made it, guys. I'm here. I'm officially in Gainesville.
My
The
man.
desk is here. There are a lot of boxes everywhere, but I don't have any more impending timelines for when I need to move or get shit done. So I get to focus back on, being the amazing, awesome product person I am, which is very exciting to me.
It's a great feeling to know you don't have to move or anything like that.
I-
Very, very happy for you.
I was talking to my developer about it earlier. It's like there's just like when there's something big and looming over like that, it's like it's all you think about. It's like the biggest stress you have.
Moving stuff.
Now there's a shit ton of stuff to do, but I'm like, I can get to it whenever the hell I want to. I have an interesting question. So, on Mondays when I moved out, so I was renting. I'm renting here now. And I was trying my goddamn hardest to get that house in what they classify as showing condition, right? I did not leave it in the last thing I had to do was vacuum, and the vacuum broke, and I'd already been like cleaning for 10 hours, and I was just like, fuck it, I'm out of here. Excuse my language on YouTube Live. But I departed without doing the last minute vacuuming. How many times, Brandon, have you walked into a rental after somebody's moved out and it is in showing condition?
I can tell you that I typically leave my rentals. I've never gotten a deposit back from anyone because I've always rented from mom and pops. I've always been screwed over.
You never get it back?
Bro, let's just be clear. I've only rented a handful of times. I've rented in college, didn't get it back. Rented when I got to DC, didn't get it back. I got down here, rented from a mom and pop and the same people, two different places, never got it back. And then I bought my house when I was like 26. So, but
any properties that you've had?
Man, like it happens, but very rarely. Very rarely.
That they don't leave it in showing condition.
Yeah, I mean, there's all. Okay. I remember like one or two where we were like, oh shit, this is nice. Like they did a good job, and we had one recently in the park. But out of like the 12, 13 people we've turned over the last year in that park, one.
Yeah.
And I remember just the most recent examples for like the funds when I would do shit for the hedge funds back in like 2012, 13. Bro, yeah. Rarely.
So when people move out of your mobile home park,
crash,
they're for the most part leaving it in what you would classify as showing condition.
No, I'm saying only 1 out of the 12 left it in showing
condition.
Okay. I'm sorry if I wasn't clear on that. I'm saying that's what is rare, is that anybody actually does that. Some people will try, but like, bro, there's always something. There's always something. And so that's why we have deposits for, and it comes down to the deposit. It really comes down, I think, to the qualification of your tenant. Like, are they good people? And then to how much of a deposit do you have? And then also, like for me, it's different because the park is a rumor mill. Do they know that they will get their deposit back if they clean it?
Oh, that's an interesting add on to it that I never thought about.
People talk shit, bro. Like if I'm kicking people out and on their way out, I don't pay them their deposit, and it's crystal clear, like the place is clean, and they leave and they tell Susie next door that this person screwed me. Look at how clean it is, and they won't give me my deposit. Then no one's gonna do it. So like we try to be very fair with people. There are people who didn't get their deposit. I know Brittany recently was billing somebody back for stuff that they left. So we'll try to do portions of it. But I don't know how the hedge funds, that was a hedge fund rental, right? You were renting from Blackstone, right? Invitation Homes. I don't know how they do it, man. Like, and there's not a lot you could do either. I know there's laws where you have, I don't know what it is over there, but like 15 days, like they have to send you the reason why. You have time to respond back based on what they're deducting from your
I was not thinking I was getting my deposit back, mostly because of the backyard. Like my kids dug a hole and I tried my best to fill it in, but I'm like, they're gonna have to like resod this. So I was like, whatever.
So like they're supposed to let you know, like here's what it is of why you're not getting it back.
Yeah.
And then you have the ability to remedy or to respond back to them. I mean, usually it never plays out like that. It's like, you ain't getting your deposit back. The person goes, fuck.
Yeah, I didn't. If we get something back, I was like, that's a nice bonus.
Yeah, I see that kind of just as like icing on the cake.
Yeah,
If
like
you spend the money though to get it like professionally cleaned, like the places I've moved out of, I hired like a professional cleaner, and I tell them, I'm like, hey, this is to get our deposit back.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the case, like if you go an above and beyond and hire like a cleaning service, and they still tell you it's like not clean or whatever, then it's like, all
you
right.
can show them
The
receipts,
interesting
like,
thing is they did not require me to do that. I cleaned the inside of the house really well. The last thing I left was like the dirt from one day
it
worth
just
of like in
depends
the.
too, because like it depends on the unit. Like if I have a turnover, I have a turnover. Like if
Mm-hmm.
like even some, it's different for me on the park. But like if I know that unit shit because it was a previous tenant when I bought it, and I got to redo the floors and do all this shit, and you didn't damage anything and it's dirty, I'll give you your deposit back because I use common sense. Like I'm gonna rip the floors up, I got to repaint, I got to like we're spending about
How much does
12K
it
on
like?
one.
How much do you factor in length of stay? Because we were in that house for 5 years, right? Versus like if I was only there for a year, like how much do you factor in wear and tear for the
Yeah.
amount of length that the tenant was there?
100%.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I can't speak for the funds, but like it also goes into like what type of flooring. So like if
Yeah,
I have LV, like if I have laminate waterproof, I've been putting in waterproof floors. And everyone we're redoing, I'm spending like that's like
it's a smart decision.
250 a square plus install. I'm putting all the way through the units. Um, if I do that and you've damaged it, bro, that's like yeah. But if it's carpet, 5 years, I got my carpet for 5 years. Bruh,
Mm-hmm.
you're good, bro. If there's a stain or
Yeah.
anything, I'm not gonna be
Thanks for being here.
I'm not gonna be upset about it. Like, cause I'm gonna rip
Yeah.
those floors up. I got my money's worth out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Interesting. Well, I'll keep you guys updated when they come back with me. I'm mostly worried about the backyard because my kids destroyed that. Luckily, they're out of the phase of being in
Oh yeah,
backyard destroyers, so this house will be perfect when we leave.
no,
Um,
we have a tenant like that. Their kids and their dogs ruin our backyard. They're our last remaining trouble tenant in our park.
yeah,
We have too much. Like I plan on booting them. They just don't know it yet. I've been patient because we had too much other turnover, and they're
yeah,
paying, albeit late. So
yeah.
like I'm like I'll deal with you, but you're setting a bad example, and your yard looks like a minefield. So as soon as I'm done filling the rest of these, like they're on borrowed
Good
time
job.
and they don't fucking know it. Like they're living on like a wing and a prayer right now. They have no idea they're gonna be homeless come like the new year. But like I'm just being patient with them.
Oh man, poor guys. Well, I'm happy to be here. I'm excited. I don't have an office anymore. I've got a room that's will be used for my office and my wife, who also works remote. But my kids are at school now, so they will probably walk in at some point now because we're pre-recording. But usually on a
Yeah.
Friday, they will not be interrupting our podcast,
And
except for the
we're
summer.
pre-recording
We are
because
pre-recording.
Carlos, what do you got going on? We had to pre-record because our man Carlos is a traveling.
I appreciate that. It's either Papa P hitting a park, John moving somewhere,
Not happening
if
again for a while.
if I have to move. Yeah, hopefully that's good. But the wholesaling live event, which we talked about, Michael Giannis, Charles Hernandez, if you know those guys, aka
Yeah.
Uncle Charles. So it's a
Uncle
cool
Charles.
event. Going to be a lot of people there, and the main thing that separates that one is they have like if you're an attendee at that event, you're literally cold calling, cold texting, talking to sellers like a majority of the event.
I don't
Like
know
you
if they're
have
cold texting anymore, but yeah.
well, very fair point. Very actually, let me, if you guys don't mind, I'm just gonna pull up a screen here. I don't know if I need to screen share, but I'm actually gonna see. I
I'm
haven't
sure
looked
they
this
are. I was
past
joking.
week.
I'm sure they
Well,
are.
I'm just gonna see what
Everyone's still
sponsors
doing
are
it, bro.
there.
Everyone's still doing it. Launch Control, I just read a Facebook post. Someone's still repping Launch Control, saying they're having great success. I even saw someone repping Roar, saying they're still having success with Roar. And I'm like, bro, come on.
Damn.
Roar was like.
Or they had to rebuild their systems. I want to say like 6-8 months ago. They like completely redid everything at Roar. I don't know if you have to use your own Twilio account there anymore. I was also just on the customer advisory board meeting for Carrot, where I think it's every month or 2 months or something like that. They bring in customers and they talk. And one of the questions that was asked was, how do you to the customers, like what's going on with texting? Nobody there. One person had just finished a texting campaign, didn't say how he was doing it, but he said he didn't get much success and it was hard. Everybody else had not tried texting yet because most of the people there are organic or PPC peeps
Mhm.
through
Yeah.
Carrot, getting great leads that way. but they're like, we're not willing to try out texting
I
right now
wouldn't.
because of
Why?
issues.
Why try it? Why you're doing
Th-
PPC?
th-
You're doing organic
I
stuff.
know that's
Like,
what they're
why?
saying. They're like, it doesn't seem worth the hassle for what we're
No.
already capable of doing.
But anyway, so
All right,
Carlos, you're
where'd you
going.
get pull up, Carlos?
Oh, I'm just looking. I don't know if I need to screen share it. And the page, of course, isn't loading. But I'm just going to see what sponsors they have because I haven't checked it in a little bit. But the
For this
idea is
week?
they have,
Going.
yeah, the idea is that they have kind of like every marketing channel represented, and then essentially those marketing people or companies are generating leads or the opportunity to reach out to leads, and then that's what people
Oh,
are
so
doing
you
during the
get
event.
leads when you go there. I thought you had to bring your own
Yeah.
leads.
No, if you're a provider,
Interesting.
like if you're doing like Facebook ads, for example, like I know last year, like Esteban was paying, I think he paid out of pocket or did some type of deal where he was generating leads for people. But I know Mike Hambright's going, so Investor Machine's there. Their kind of positioning is they'll pull data for you that's like specific for your market. That's not going to be the same as like, another person that's going to be there is PropStream. So I think Burton and Paul DePosa for PropStream are going to be there. Call Tools is probably there. Carrot, of course, is going to be there. That's who we're repping is Carrot at the event. Of course, this isn't loading while we're doing a
Don't worry about it, dude.
podcast.
Don't worry
But
about it. I'm more curious if you
Investor Lift will be there.
I bet.
They're there. Let me see who else is there really quick. Of course, it's loading now. But I'm excited just to chop it up. I think it's going to be a majority.
Yeah.
Eric Klein is
Yeah.
one of the hosts
Yeah.
there. Brad Lee is going to be there, is giving a
Brad-
keynote.
Bradley, old school.
Dropping bombs.
I feel like Papa P would be a Brad Lee guy. I see Papa P as like a Brad Lee, Andy Frisella, which I love Andy Frisella. Like he's a big
I like him.
like vision board guy. Doesn't take any shit. He's awesome. So is Brad Lee. Carlos Reyes is speaking there. Robert Wensley, RJ Bates. Oh, Deal Machine. Dave Letko is going to be there. REI Call Center. So I saw this guy at Limitless, but I didn't get a chance to speak to him. The guy that's pictured here, Felipe. PropStream. Oh, Leadzilla. That's what I was forgetting. YouTube leads. David Old.
Leadzilla?
Leadzolo.
They do just YouTube ads?
YouTube and PPC, and they kind of do them the way they do it. I don't know how to explain it technically, but it's kind of in unison, like PPC and YouTube ads.
Interesting.
Which is pretty interesting. Which I think I mentioned on the show, I'm a huge YouTube premium guy. Like I always just have like podcast or something rolling. So with the premium, you're paying $12 a month or whatever, so that you don't get the ads and that you can have YouTube playing when you're on other apps. So you could be texting or doing whatever in the YouTube.
Bro, you don't need that anymore. The iPhone released their new update where you can now be doing other things while playing YouTube because it does picture-in-picture type stuff now. Same thing with like FaceTime. So it's picture-in-picture. I just noticed that I did my update to the 16 or whatever the other month, and like now I can like be texting or something and I can have YouTube minimized to the side on like a slide-out screen while I'm searching, doing all that shit. You still can't close your phone. You can't do lock screen with it playing. Like
okay.
Yeah.
That feature came out like a year ago. How long is it? How long have you not updated your phone?
I don't update my phone until it slows down. So I thought this was new. I updated my phone like 2 months ago.
I've been doing that for ages. I've never tried it with YouTube actually. I used to have YouTube Premium and I enjoyed the ability to do the lock screen. That's what I loved most about YouTube Premium was I could just close my phone and it still would keep playing.
Before we got on the show, you were talking about someone in Miami doing PPC, and now we're talking about PPC for this. Are they the ones who are doing like Leadzolo, all that, or are we talking two different people?
Two different things. This is a local guy that I've talked with a lot. Like texting, FaceTime, just mutual friends. But this is the first time that we actually met up in person. Really cool guy.
What's he seeing on PPC? He's doing
his leads. I won't say him because I want to have him. I want to have him on here, so I'd rather say.
Yeah.
I'd rather have him say it, but PPC and TV is working really well.
Oh yeah, he's the one you were saying does TV too.
Yeah. So hopefully, I'm gonna. Oh, go ahead.
Does he do it just locally in like Miami, or is he doing TV otherwhere? Because when I talked to, what's his name, who runs all that TV mastermind stuff, he was saying like sometimes it doesn't make sense, Tony, to do it in your market. That instead you find like a different metro and run your TV ads there. Because like the TV metro is different than like what you and I think is a regular metropolitan area. Like,
right.
If I was speaking on TV for Lakeland, I had to do Lakeland and all of Tampa, Pasco, that whole area, which was bigger than what I was trying to do for TV.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. So he's in, and if anybody's local here and you watch Miami, Fort Lauderdale local news, and you see We Buy Houses during like NFL games or sporting events, it's
That's
like
him.
one of 2 or 3 guys. So you probably know who it is.
Oh.
But he's just Miami, Fort Lauderdale local during like sports games and other random stuff. He
Interesting.
doesn't work with Tony Javier. He works with another guy. There's another guy in Collective Genius.
Yeah, who
I
is
can't
that?
remember the name of the guy
I
he
know
mentioned,
who
but
you're talking about too,
yeah,
because there's like
Eric
two
Brewer
big
mentioned him
TV
too.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's one of those guys.
I
So I
can't
think the
think of it.
recommendation is stay in your local market. And Ryan Pineda, same guy. And the idea with that is whoever's on the TV commercial is the person that goes on the appointments for the highest conversion rate. I don't know how much Ryan that.
Interesting.
Yeah,
How
I didn't know
possible is
that.
it to
I didn't
do
know that.
that?
Yeah, I
it's
know.
well,
I
you
didn't
can
know
only
that.
scale
Yeah.
it to a certain point, right? Like if Brandon was doing that, like, and he's doing other
Not
stuff.
necessarily. If you tell the TV agencies, put this phone, like here's this, like this person with this phone number, and then this person with this phone number, you could run different ads
I
with
don't know how
different
that
phone
works.
numbers.
I think the
But
branding
I
for that
see.
TV though is the CEO is that's like the
Yeah.
focus of the commercial. Like if it's like Brandon buys houses, it's like, hey, I'm Brandon Pedersen, XYZ selling proposition, get your cash fast, XYZ selling point versus listing it. And then they expect to see Brandon at person, and then the closing rate
There's
is
not a
like
lot
crazy.
of leeway, John. Like when you sign up for these things, like and of course I didn't, so I'm only speaking from my initial
Yeah.
interview when I was thinking about it. But like it's pretty much follow the script to a T. They know what works. You
Yeah.
follow what
Yeah.
works, and like you know what I mean. Like this is what you're gonna wear. This is what you're gonna say.
Mhm.
This is what your phone, like all that stuff. They're like, this is what works for everybody. Just repeat the process and the model. Um, no, I was curious about it because, like, yeah, like we're talking about wholesaling live, and like all those people are a lot of PPC stuff going, and with SMS going down, it's like, are more people going to pony up money? So, like, my synopsis is I see like a lot of, I think, the pay per lead stuff. I
Mhm.
saw somebody else start with per lead platform where they're essentially in competition with everybody now. They're offering the services for you, like to help you run your PPC campaigns. And now they're like, hey, I'm just going to create this lead marketplace where you could come in and buy it. And so I see that as being a cheap alternative for people to come in and get PPC leads and try to scale that versus doing the SMS.
But
Yeah.
you
No,
tried
I think
that
it's a
and you
good
didn't find
hypothesis.
success there.
I'm so I've been doing it, and like some of the leads are just straight garbage, and like the one I'm using, it's stupid because like, and I spent money on it, and I didn't read the print, so it's my fault, but like it was an SMS lead. So now they started throwing SMS leads into their bucket. And so like I called them and I got the same shit. Listen, bro, like we do cold calling heavy, and like so I'm so used to that, well, you called me type of shit that I'm
Mhm.
over it. I wanted a high quality, low burnout type of lead.
Yeah.
And when I called it and the lady said that to me, I went back on their website and I'm like clicking, I'm like,
Type of lead SMS.
you got me. But I mean, like, so I've talked to a couple people where like legitimately, yes. And, we're expecting a contract on one of them that I'm trying out with this website. But like what I find with them is you can't control it.
Mhm.
So you can't really, you can't control what's coming in. And then not only when somebody fills out a form, we all know they fill out Brandon's form, they fill out John's form, they fill out
Yeah.
Carlos's form.
Mhm.
Yeah.
On top of them doing that, I now have them calling John and Carlos calling them, but now I have about 5 people that this agency sold this lead to also calling them. So that becomes, and I've run into that numerous. Wow, you guys, I just got another call from somebody like two, and I called them within like 20 minutes of the lead going live, and
Yeah.
they've already talked to somebody, and it's like,
Hmm.
and so
Interesting.
again, so they offer things where it's like a first hold,
Mhm.
buyer hold, where you pay an extra $100 to like hold the lead for 48 hours, or exclusive, and you pay an extra $200. Now your lead cost could be like $600-700, and if you're
Mhm.
not converting them, like you have to go and you like, what's your cost per deal, like what's your conversion rate? Are you doing 6 or 12
Yeah.
leads to a deal? And then that gives you your cost per deal. But it's like, and when you don't control the lead or know any of the details on it, and you have to select like roulette which one you're
Yeah.
gonna buy, like, bro, if you're not picking lucky, you're getting a bunch of garbage fucking leads. Like I picked one and it was a business, And he's like, well, do you buy businesses? I'm like, what?
They don't have any like refund policy though. If it's like if it's not a legit lead, or I guess it's obviously company by company for the PPLs.
I've tried, like I've sent in the message. I haven't tried where I've really fought for it because like I'm not a
I know
return
some
type
that
of
do.
guy. Like
I know
and
some of the
again, I
teams
have
that
to find.
use like I have 3 dead reasons, and they'll classify it as this specific dead reason that gets a
Yeah,
refund. It automatically populates a spreadsheet, which then triggers the refund
yeah,
process to occur. So there are some
yeah.
that do it, but you got to be
If
on top of
so,
that, and you got to
yeah.
chase them
So and
enough
I'm and
quickly
I'm
because
and
it
I'm
runs
not.
out of the time frame, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you got to
Yeah, and
request the
I'm
refund
not.
within 15 days or whatever, or prove that you tried to
So
call them at least 10 times within 15 days and they didn't respond.
yeah.
It's difficult.
So I'm sure it's definitely possible and doable. Um, I have I have many things sitting inside my house right now that go into the trash can eventually that have never been returned to Lowe's, Publix, Walmart, Target,
Mm-hmm.
because I just find the concept of returns, my time is worth more.
That's exactly how I feel about
I don't want to wait in the return line. It'd be like $100. Like we got chicken that was rotted from Publix, and
Ooh.
they're like, my mom was like cooking, and my wife's there in the kitchen, and they're like, oh, this is bad chicken. You should go return it. And they're like, the next day, they're like, are you gonna go return this? I'm
not
like,
worth the time.
want me to go return fucking chicken? I'm gonna go to the store and be like, you sold me rotten chicken. I need my $5 back. Like, I got work. I'm going to
Yeah.
work, man. I need to go make more money. I can return chicken.
So that you can afford more rotten chicken.
So I can buy more rotten chicken. But anyway, those are my thoughts. Is like I'm with you, Johnny. You know my personal thing. Like obviously, I think if you can afford to run your PPC, joining like a Nick Perry mastermind or signing on with Bateman Collective or any of the other like Gold Level, any of the other providers, AdWord Nerds, all those guys that do it. Like I get it. And who's it? Chris Chico runs like the Facebook stuff too. You pay those people to run your ads. That's the next step. But what I'm saying is, do we see this as a way for people to get in to this game?
I do think it's a way to get in. I don't know.
But you gotta dump some money, bro. Like
Right. You got to get a
I've
lot
dropped
of
like
skin in the
7
game,
grand
and
into this. Yeah.
it's just I don't know, maybe the cost benefit like ratio versus like SMS blasting, and you got to go through all those responses and then eventually get a lead, even though the cost is low. But this is like spend a shit ton of money. You got to not get scared. You got to follow the
You
process. You
gotta
got to
spend a
like
shit
work
ton of
really
money.
hard. I mean,
You
it
gotta
might
jump
work.
off the cliff and trust that your chute opens
Right.
in 6 months is what
That's
it
what
is.
I
It's like a
see though, is like
6-month free fall.
we're talking about people that are early into this experience, and I just don't see them having the kahunas
Yeah.
No.
to do this type of stuff.
Bro, you have to though. Like it's tough, and I've been a victim to it too. Like when I was talking with Bateman Collective, we were talking about my previous experiences running PPC, and like sometimes like you're 3 months in, you're dropping all this money and you haven't gotten it, and so you're 15, 20K in. It's a lot different because the difference is you're not seeing leads, not about deals. At least with cold calling, I drop 15, 20K. I'm
Yeah,
getting
leads.
hundreds of leads, so I feel like I'm
Return.
doing something.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, would you rather sit in traffic or drive an hour out of your way to not sit in traffic, but you're still moving? A lot of people would be like, I'd rather just be moving instead of sitting in traffic. You might arrive at the same time, but you would rather be moving and drive out of your way. And I feel like that's the thing. It's like,
I'm kind of having a random thought here, which is like the Robert Greene mastery book. One of the main takeaways I took from
yeah,
that book is that more people, especially talking with my friend today, where his head acquisition guy, like if you're a acquisition person for an established wholesaler or investor, like you could still make a lot of money, get a lot of experience, but you don't have the downside risk of paying for the marketing out of pocket. So what I think, I don't know if this is going to happen, but just me knowing what I know and experience and stuff, it could make sense for someone that wants to get into a wholesaling. We talked about this on the show before, like finding a mentor and being a lead manager or acquisitions for somebody. Like
I've thought about hiring people under that.
yeah,
Like
like
I would hire somebody doing that. If
yeah.
anyone wants a job and wants to do that, I think I was talking with Tyler about something like that. Like our friend of the podcast, Tyler, a couple months ago, we were talking about like hiring people like that. I think it's a good concept. And And I would have no problem. Give me a year. Promise me 1 or 2 years you'll work with me without quitting and going doing your own thing. I'll teach you everything. I'll make sure you make a shit ton of money. You work all the leads, like boom, and there you go. And like you run no risk. You get a base pay
Yeah.
probably. Like a lot of guys,
Yeah.
me and John were actually just talking about pay structure.
We were. I was
Like
just wondering
before
about
the
that.
show, like
What would you give this person as a
yeah.
pay structure?
So like depending on your market, you could be anywhere. I would say the minimum would be like 3K a month. But
Mhm.
you know, if you're in like a more rural, maybe 2K a month. Obviously, if you're in LA or like Miami, it's probably different on a base.
Yeah.
But like if you're paying and then how many leads, what's your lead production and what's your deal production, and like how many offers are they making and what's your offer to close ratio? If you could do that math and you could say, hey, listen, man, like you should be getting 2 contracts a week. You know, let's just round math. Say you have a 50% fallout,
Mhm.
which is should not. You should have more like a 30%,
Yeah.
right? But like you're closing 4 deals. What's your average commission or assignment? Is it 20K, 30K? Let's say it's 30K. You know, you're pulling in 120K for the company a month and you're working off of what, like 8%? So what are you making? 9, 10K a month in commission on top of your base. So you're pulling in like 12K
Yeah.
a month without risk. Yeah, and if you got a good boss, they're probably making it fun as shit.
Yeah.
You're probably
Right.
not working. Of course, you're probably like fucking around. Got ping pong tables,
Yeah,
pool tables. You're
exactly.
joking around. When I was in office, man, half the time there was jokes, all kinds of shit. Like you
Yeah.
got TV playing, like you're having a blast. To
Yeah.
make
Probably some like
12K a month,
probably some like solid Friday lunches that just like really bring the
yeah.
end of the
Yeah.
week home.
So
Occasional
like,
paintball game.
and
Just speaking
Yeah.
of
honestly,
experience of some of these that I've seen.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, exactly. Boat trips, different things like spiffs. Like what kind of spiffs does you give you? Like if you're top sales guy, like I'm
The
sure
hell
there's
is a
all kinds of
spiff?
so like different things. So like what are the gifts that you're getting? Different commission like bonuses. Different commission.
AirPods or Beats
Like
headphones
think of
or
it like this. Like I got
The
this for the call
wheel.
center, right? Like the wheel for the
Yeah.
call center. But like we also had like a whole board when I was in office where like we would put tough leads up and I'd offer like cash bonuses or different things. Anyone who could take this specific deal down gets this. And if you're top sales agent, you get this on top of your
Interesting.
normal commission. So when you think of that, like I agree with Carlos.
Mhm.
Do you think
Yeah, I
that's
don't
going to
know.
be I think
That
that's
sounded
pretty
pretty
cool.
good. Yeah,
Like
and if I was like let's say I was Brandon or an established wholesaler in my market, um, if you come across these new wholesalers at real estate events, like I go to one every month. I'm sure
yeah.
there's a monthly similar one like that or multiple ones in every market. Anybody listening to this, why not when you're going to those networking things? Those could be your acquisitions people. If they're hungry to get into wholesaling, you're
Yeah.
like, hey, I can make you. You're going to make more money with me, get better experience, and you
Yeah.
have no downside risk.
Especially if it's a small team too. Like, so if you come in and maybe you're someone's first agent or second agent, you're going to get more one-on-one time than if like you come into a big organization that's got like 5 or 6 acquisition guys and a couple dispo and you expect that one-on-one with your boss. Like that
Mm-hmm.
may not, there may be layers there. So
Mm-hmm.
like if you get in with somebody, like thinking about it, like if you think about what it takes, so you're making 12K pre-tax.
Hmm.
So if I'm running a 30% margin, I mean, like, and you think about like what the owner actually walks away with, like, we got to produce some income minus our expenses, minus our commissions, minus everything. Like, that's not
Hit that
and the
volume.
risk, and the risk. So would you rather do all that and then maybe make an extra 10K a month? Maybe if you're the owner, you're walking away with 20, 30K in your pocket every month, you know, just on a small scale. Or would you rather be an acquisition guy making a minimum of 10, 12K, maybe even 20, 30? I know guys making more than that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what
Doesn't
would you
sound
rather
too bad to
have?
me.
No risk? You don't go home worrying about marketing and budgets. You just go home, hang out with your kids.
Yeah, doesn't sound too bad to me.
Some people need
So
to
we'll
realize
see.
the entrepreneurial dream is not for everybody.
Yeah,
I think that's the problem is
yeah.
Hmm.
the salesmanship of the coaches saying do it yourself. There should be
Right.
a guru out there saying go work for someone, because listen, if you came and worked for me and like, so I'm into mobile home parks, So like, and you saved up your money and you wanted to go in and throw in as a partner on a mobile home park or buy a mini park that came through, like that's how you
Yeah.
build your wealth. And then eventually, boom, you're out on your own. You got a couple parks, or maybe you're with someone who does like like single family stuff, like, and you buy one or two of those that comes across the table. Like, I remember I did a wholesale deal. I was JVing with somebody, and the one guy who I was dispoing it with on their team bought it for his actual house, and his boss helped him do it. Like,
Mhm.
it was
That's like what
phenomenal. I think he
that's
still
like what my
lives in it
friend
today.
Yeah, that's like what my friend does too. And he's presenting at Collective Genius on culture. So that's what we should have him come on this podcast for.
Yeah.
Talk about like Miami wholesaling / investing, and then also culture. And he was saying like some of his guys, like some of his top acquisition guys, they have leads and they're like, hey, I want to fix and flip this just because it makes sense to do a fix and flip. And he's like, at first he let him do it, and he's like, yeah, no. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pay the company the wholesale fee. We're going to outsource this to my contractors, whoever handles the flip, and then we'll split it 50-50, or you can keep it as a rental.
Yeah, that's
So
what I
it's
would
like
do. I
really
wouldn't let them
inundating it.
do it because
Yeah.
because
It
of
takes
knowing
time away
how,
from working
yeah,
leads and
knowing
closing
how
deals.
crazy it is without any experience. But
Yeah. Plus first time.
I would put you into the incubation. Be like, hey,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'll throw it into our cog, throw this money in, you get a proportion of it, learn the ins and outs of shit. You could go visit it on your days off. You know what I mean? Like on the weekend,
Yeah.
check it out. But like you don't have to worry about and that's what I did. When I started, I gave my money to a buddy. The money I saved up, right? I gave my money to a buddy and I followed him around. We went in on deals. I had no say. I did nothing because I knew nothing. And I did like my
Just
first
learn.
couple that way. And then like afterwards, like I was like, all right. Remember that one in St. Pete? I was doing it with him that I told you that flooded, that came close to flooding
Yeah.
because he didn't pull insurance. So I never thought like, oh, you don't pull insurance. And then we came really close to that getting flooded out. And then when I went on my own, everything got insurance after that. Like that was my lesson. And so like I learned. I think that's pretty cool, Carlos. I like
It
this
is.
idea.
And I mean, how baked
How
in do
many
you
people
get?
would do it though?
Yeah, how
Yeah.
big do you get to from the like if you're an owner of a real estate acquisitions or investing company, whatever, how baked into your people get if you're helping them get rentals and building wealth and
Yeah.
paying them well and stuff like that. And then the flip side of that, I wanted to bring up a Dan Martell post because I don't know if you guys saw or follow that he's moving into like a physical office in I always mess up
Oh,
the name Kelowna. I don't know the exact.
I
You guys
can
know
never pronounce it.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
neither.
Up there in Canada.
Yeah, up there in Canada.
Oh, yeah.
But he's moving to a physical office, and how he said he's just like, hey, if you want to apply to a job, you're willing to move out here. Like, I'm willing to talk to you. What I'm really looking for, though, is people like you have your base, like, here's what the job is, but people that consistently want
Yeah.
to like over exceed that. And I was talking about this
Mhm.
with my friend today, and that's what happens when you build a good like culture. And that's what I was
Yeah.
telling this thing. Is like he's not giving up equity in his company, but he's creatively able to do this by helping them get rentals, something like that. And I talked about like when I came on to Investor Fuse and I was still wholesaling with Dan, like even just getting a small piece of equity in Investor Fuse, I was like, man, I'm freaking bought in here. Like I'm
Mhm.
Yeah.
like, let's do this thing. Like I'm bought in.
But
And
the
when you
problem
can
is
have
like
that,
time frame. You need time too. It's
that's a
not
challenge. I mean, that's a
overnight.
challenge, isn't it? That's a variable of one of the
Everyone
challenges.
wants it today. Is like, so yeah, I can help you with rentals, but what I need you to do is I need you to focus for a year.
Mhm.
I need
A year?
That's getting harder and harder just with how humans are the TikTok.
it is right, but think about
Yeah,
it.
it is.
The first month is going to be rough. It's going to be a rocky ride as you get used to the processes and systems. You're probably going to have your first closing come like your third month because a 30-day out, you get your first
90
deal.
days out. Yep.
Yeah, you get your first deal that first month towards the end of it, probably, depending on quality of leads. But so you're 3 months in, you got your first commission check. They start rolling after that. Save up some money. Focus on this job. Get really good. You know what I mean? Get your
Mhm.
commissions, get your bonuses, save your money. Stop worrying about what everyone else is doing. And now when a year comes along and you've got 20K or 50K saved up, because I truly think you need money saved up.
Mhm.
Now come and talk to me. You see a deal coming across, we got to get a hard money loan or something, take it down, like let me know. And
Yeah.
like we'll go in on that. Because the boss should do that because you have now helped the company make money. So you
Yeah.
poured into them and they're pouring into you by making sure you're getting paid. So now you guys could go out and do that and you just throw it into that wheelhouse, man. I
Yeah.
think,
So
but could you wait a year?
that's a good question. I wish I was more optimistic on an answer there, but humans humans are fascinating creatures. Real estate investors are fascinating creatures.
Yeah.
I would love if that trend happened where we're at now, because we talked about too, like some just real estate wholesaling is slowing down in certain areas to a certain extent. So I would love to see that kind of collaboration where some of the newer shops, they're like, hey, I don't know if I have the budget to spend marketing for the next 6 months or the rest of this year, whatever. I would love to just go work with somebody, and it's easy to get connected with people. More, this is the connected era. It's more easy to connect with somebody on social media.
Yeah.
Someone could shoot Brandon a DM and get on a Zoom
I would
call
hire
with
them if
them.
they were local and they had that attitude and they were just like, listen, man, like I've done this stuff. I need more training. I don't have the money to run this on my own, but like I'm down to put the work in. If
Yeah,
I'll come work for you. If you could pay me base plus commission or whatever, like I'll come crush it for you for a year or two. You teach me what you know. I would hire someone.
Yeah.
It just depends. Like my only concern would be like, are they of the right mindset to put that work in? Like that would be my screening criteria. Do I believe they're a hard worker? Do I believe they want quick money? And it kind of goes to what we joked about before, Carlos. And I know I say this pointed at you because I know you're on Facebook as much as I am as part of your job. Check and post anyone looking for CRMs or websites for Carrot and Investor Fuse. But like, if you've noticed when you're cruising these groups, I've seen a lot of investors. Like I saw one the other day. It was heartbreaking. Like I don't know the guy, but he's like, man, does anybody want to sub to my car? He's like, I'm behind on payments. It's already been repoed twice. Boom. Like I haven't gotten a deal. Like I need this. Like, does anyone want to do this? And then there was another guy who was like, Mom, my landlord is about to kick me out. I need to come up with my back due rent and this rent. I'm trying to go all in on real estate. And does anybody have a deal? I'll help them JV it. Like I'll get this deal. And everyone's response is like, hey man, go get a job. Real estate's not quick because the whole post was, and this is the second post, right? Not the car one, but the one with the rent. The whole thing was like, I haven't gotten a deal, but I'm all in on real estate. Like I owe $3,000 or whatever to my landlord, and I need grocery bills for my kids. Who's got a deal that they can help me with? And then like I'll JV whatever, sell it and get it paid. And everyone's like, bro, like if you've known this bill's coming due, like just go get a job and try wholesaling on the back. Like you're not going to get a deal that quick. That's going to like, it's not a Band-Aid. You know what I mean? Like it takes time. And so I've seen a lot of that happening in these Facebook groups. A lot of people selling their cars. I've seen people selling their own personal houses, trying to sub to it. Like that's why I made a joke that Pace Morby's group is like the Make-A-Wish Foundation. It's like when you go to that Facebook group, it's like a Make-A-Wish. It's like everyone's asking for something. They all want handouts. They're all begging. They want to partner with somebody to do something. And it's like you start reading some of these and they went all in and they didn't succeed. And I know there's an attrition rate. But like I think if they listen to Carlos and like those people, like get a job, bro. You want a job, do what Carlos said. Like go find somebody and say, I'm willing to work fucking 60 hours this week and just dial whatever you say. I got rent due. I got this to pay. I'm not asking you to pay that for me, but pay me a fair base salary and commission. Give me the leads. I'll fucking close it because I got to feed my family. I don't know any owner that would say no to that because I'd be like, damn, he's got responsibilities. He's got kids.
That's like the Steve Trang qualifier.
Yeah, that's right. Steve was talking about that when he was like, when I look to hire somebody, I look to hire somebody who has responsibilities.
Yeah, but instead, he's looking for the quick fix, and that the whole point of this was like that would be my concern is the people who want the quick money. Like he's not looking for that long term. He was looking for solve my problem today, give me a deal, I'll JV it with you and let's close this. Bro, still ain't gonna close for like 30, 40 days. So unless it's a vacant piece of land, like or you have the holy grail of a vacant 3-2 with clear title in a major metro. 60% of
because that happens all the time in wholesaling.
Yeah, like So I don't know. I think this was an intriguing concept, though. I don't know how many people out there would do it, though. But if anybody does, you reach out to me. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, hit up.
I think people will have to suck some pride in, and that's the unfortunate thing, about our industry, right? Like with what social media has enabled the gurus out there to be flashy, right? Like.
But in defense, I have seen more spoofs. Like I saw a different commercial ad last night. It was a rap parody on like the gurus and like how they lie about how quick it is to make money, and it was very funny. It was very spoofy, you know. And I was just like,
It was a
this is
commercial for
it
what?
was not a commercial. It was like a Instagram ad commercial.
Oh, okay.
Ad. You know,
Specifically for real estate?
it was wholesaling. They were dressed up in chains. They had like a fake emblem on their car, you know, to make it
That's
a Lambo. It
hilarious.
was hilarious. And it's like, that's the general concept though. It's like getting your first deal in
Mhm.
30 days. Like, it's not like, look how long I've been going after parks, man. Like, Jesus fucking
Mhm.
Christ. I just want to fucking park already. Like, but I get it. I'm paying my dues. I've made so many offers. I had another one rejected. They decided to take it off the market. Like, I get it. Like, it's not going to happen overnight, but I can't look at it as my band-aid. Like, oh my
Right.
God, I need this park to solve this problem. Yeah, I got problems. I
Mhm.
need a park. Another park will solve them. 10 more parks will solve them. But like, it took me 9 months to get my first one, and it's been a year. Like, I'm still looking for my second one,
Mhm.
and it takes time. It takes time,
Yep.
bro.
Sure does. It sure does.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. As many smart people say, no one knows exactly what's going to happen with the market, how wholesalers' businesses are going to go. We talked about Sean Terry's episode, which I loved, and he's more so on the bearish side of real estate, probably because he's been through a cycle where stuff didn't turn out well for him. My friend is not sharing that same opinion of how stuff will go down, especially in South Florida, thinking stuff is still either going to stay the same
Was
or
he
go
not
up.
in fucking South Florida? Bro, I did BPOs for the banks in South Florida. You were buying condos on the water at 40 fucking grand. Every foreign
What?
investor, bro. We had the Miami MLS access. I was doing BPOs. I was doing like 300 BPOs a month. I was crushing it. That was how I made $250,000 my first year in real estate. Was just BPOs. I was valuing. I had picture takers all through South Florida. You were buying condos on the water, cheap houses below 100 grand. Miami was a fucking ghost town. No,
Damn.
because they had all that development in 2005, 6, and 7,
Mhm.
and then all of these condos from these foreign buyers, these vacation owners, these second home owners, like they got foreclosed on, and there were so many of them that they were just cheap, bro.
Do
It
you think
was
that'll happen
insane.
again?
I think the demographics of Miami are a lot different than a normal town. So yes, I do think. I think you have a lot of Airbnbs. I think you have a lot of second homeowners. I think you have a lot of foreign investors. Now the difference is the last Black Swan event was global. So like that
Hmm.
recession was a global recession. I mean, you had every country struggling. You know, Europe, they all were struggling over there. Like, if we have that again, then yeah. And I think, I mean, we got a war going on right now with Ukraine and Russia. Like, I could see, you know, Europe's not doing well. China has its own issues with like some of their real estate portfolios and stuff. Like, I could see some shit like that happening. It's not a suburban market where it's all mom and dads and it's all about
Mm-hmm.
job growth. Y'all down there are wild, bro. Like, you live a different life in Miami than like.
What's your friend's kind of opinion?
That his main thing, if I had to synthesize it, is the lack of inventory is kind of the
The lack of
safeguard
it,
for anything like that happening. And I
but
forget the
people need
exact number
money.
that he said.
I know, I get it. That's everyone's
Yeah.
excuse.
And that's other
Everybody's
anybody
excuse.
who's bullish, like my other friend who
Yeah.
does the all the turnkey stuff and invests like in the Midwest, like Detroit, Memphis, all those areas. Same thing is that's kind of like their backfall argument is the lack of inventory is
But
like
what
a
does that mean?
stall ball.
Let's say this. Okay. So let's just use basic logic. People
Mm-hmm.
use lack of inventory. Their
Mm-hmm.
premise for that is stating that people need houses, correct?
Correct.
Okay. The only way their lack of inventory holds that in a down market, the lack of inventory will hold up or support prices is if people need houses. So are they implying that we have a lot of homeless people that need houses? Is that what they're saying? Or because that's not true. So yeah, if we had a shit ton of homeless people waiting like a bread line for a condo to be finished in Miami for them to have shelter, I could see that argument. But their premise is incorrect because the fact of the matter is it's not that we have an inventory problem, homeless people needing, it's just up. it's people who are renting needing to go, or people who are graduating from their family house with their mom and dad needing to go. But what we're seeing is kids staying in the home longer. They're staying until they're 23, 24 now, instead of leaving when they're 18 like our generation did. We have people who would rather rent now than move into a home because of interest rates. So yeah, inventory is what everyone throws across like it's this fancy, intelligent thing to say. But unless you're telling me you have a breadline of people, of homeless people waiting for shelter, I think it's just an ignorant statement. That's my opinion. I would love to see that inventory statement hold up when a bunch of people lose their fucking jobs and they need a place to live. Guess what they're going to do? They're not going to go buy a house. They're going to go rent. Because when I was doing shit in 2011 and 12 for the funds and everyone was getting kicked out and they had shit credit, you know where they went? They didn't go buy a house. They went to rent a house. So, and prices kept dropping and bottoming out during that time.
So, Papa P, I want to ask you something on that point.
Yeah.
I just started reading Pace Morby's book. I had it.
How is that?
I had it already. And what kind of intrigued me along that intuition-wise was Sean Terry talking about how he built up a rental portfolio of like 100, 150 properties with subject to and creative financing. So with him also saying that the big play could potentially be the foreclosures, which is speaking to your point of these people lose their job, they can't keep up with the mortgage. Instead of buying another house, they're either renting or getting into some type of house creatively with like a down payment. It's like, hey, don't look at my credit or whatever. So I'm curious your opinion, and I asked my friend this too, and I want to talk to some other Miami people because I think that could be a play of doing either like subject to or creative finance offers, or even finding people, like if you were to have a carrot site and just find these buyers. Because I can't remember if I mentioned to you too, last week I also joined there's a guy in Miami that hosts the Meetups that just JVs a lot of deals. There's another big deal of creative finance, kind of like a sub to creative finance. So there's deals all day of that. Maybe I could. What do you think about that? Do you think that would be an opportunity, even in a market like South Florida, of being able
take on sub 2 deals?
Yeah, to take on sub 2 deals.
So it depends on, like, I reside in the Sean Terry camp. I think we're looking on a micro level of an industry specific problem, right? Real estate. But I'm looking at on a macro level of credit card debt, food prices, car prices, like everything type of thing. I believe there won't be equity in homes because I believe prices will fall. So if you want to do a sub 2 strategy and buy a house with negative equity because there's a 3% rate, like, good at you. But if there's negative equity and they're behind, you still need to bring that loan current. So again, like, if you have the financial resources to do it, but no offense to the person getting foreclosed on, I would rather let you fail and buy your house at auction at a cheaper price and then wait for the appreciation so I can. It's all about where you buy. Like, that's my thing, because again, I don't look at single family houses the way I look at a commercial property, because you can't appreciate the same way. You don't appreciate value based on income. So it doesn't matter what your rent rates are. That's not how you value a house. You value a house based on its market value. So if the market's crashing around it and I sub to a house up here because there's a deal and it's, oh my God, I could get in for 20 grand in this house on the water, but prices are plummeting all around it, I would rather just let that homeowner fail. And just be like, I'll go scoop up that house when the bank takes it over. It'll be an REO. I'll scoop it up cheap, or I'll buy it on the auction block. Boom, and I'll take care of it. Or
so maybe that's an option. Maybe that's a big play.
Oh yeah,
it's just
that's what that's
classic way to do foreclosures.
Yeah, there we go. That's the answer that I'm getting to. Is there when I've talked about the Arnold Schwarzenegger doc, absolutely amazing documentary.
I gotta watch it. I was gonna watch it this weekend, dude.
You would love it.
I had kids though, and my daughter did, and we watched a movie or a rom-com. But I'm gonna watch that by myself this weekend.
The Arnold Schwarzenegger, because he's very law of attraction, but very much like action. When people are describing some of the characteristics that made him pretty much have a Hall of Fame career life in 3 different things:
right, he's the man.
Bodybuilding, acting, and then politics. Like, ridiculous. One of the ways that someone described his success, though, is the quote. I may butcher the quote here, but never letting a chaos or never letting a catastrophe go to waste. like a
Yeah.
good catastrophe
But
chaos.
but you would be doing that strategy of doing creative financing. You would be. Now, again, if you're going to get triple N retail space, or because CMBSs are crashing, dude. Like they're up 40%
What's that?
delinquencies on commercial mortgage-backed secure, like commercial
Oh,
mortgages. They're up like a 40 basis point like tick, dude. Like it's insane. Like the delinquencies on those. Now, could you come in and buy something like that and overpay a little? Again, it depends on the situation with rents. It depends on how you can force appreciate that property. But if that guy's delinquent and he's crashing and you know it's going to be sold even cheaper than what you're paying, again, I say, why am I going to go help you out if you got no equity in it? Like, I would rather just wait. And
Do you think sub twos work in a situation where the market's not crashing because it's got equity in it?
I
But
think sub twos work when there's equity. I think real estate in general
yeah.
right,
works
that's
when there's
obviously the
equity in
base
it.
one.
I think what Pace Morby has done has flooded the market with so much information and done so well of a job marketing that everybody looks at it as a solution to their problems. And I think sub twos are a great solution. I just think they're a more advanced solution. But
Yeah.
to answer Carlos's question directly, like, no, I think there may be deals out there. Like, again, what if it's a sub two? There's someone out there arguing with me saying, well, Brandon, like, what if it's somebody who like bought their home in like 2015 and like there's like 200K of equity and like it's a 5% rate and I could sell? Okay, that deal makes sense. Like, go save that deal, because will prices go down to 2015 levels?
Right.
Maybe, maybe not. 5% rate, that's still lower than today. Like, and how much money do you have to put in? What's your buy-in at? Like, what's your entry fee? Like, is it 60 grand, 100 grand, or is it only like 10 grand? Like, how many months behind are they? So, like, I think there's a lot to it. I just don't think buying negative equity is a thing. I wouldn't do it in mobile home parks. Like,
I guess for Pace's book, and I know those strategies in general, have talked to people that do those strategies. I think it's just cool and pretty enlightening, like learning about and kind of hearing him talk about different exit strategies that you could do with those as well, like selling it on a wrap where you actually have to take somewhat ownership of the property.
yeah.
So it's
I was going
interesting.
to do
He
that.
breaks
I
it,
was
he
going to
breaks
do
down
that
in a
on this
cool
one
way.
park. I was going to take
Yeah.
over this guy's loan. He was going to wrap the mortgage to me because it was I wasn't going to be able to assume it. So he's going to wrap it to me. I'd take over his park. But honestly, like, I mean, he didn't like. I haven't heard back from him, so I don't think he liked my presentation of what I was going to do to his park. But I mean, all those things are creative ways. But my offer to him, he wanted 750. The parks, when it's fully functional, 1.8, 2 mil, like it could be something. He wanted 750. My offer was, I will just take over your loan, like wrap it to me. I'll take over the payments, and I'll go fix it up, and I'll just give you 15% equity in the deal, so you could benefit from everything. I'm not paying you a dime in cash because it wasn't worth that. There would be no equity if I paid him any more, and he wanted money. And I'm like, it makes no sense for me to pay you more today for what your property is worth. What your loan is what your property is worth today. And then I will have to go dump another $500,000 or 700K in and then turn it into that 1.8 property. It's not worth 750. He thinks it is. He's going to see, let him get still out there. Let him fucking go, bro.
Try.
So, like, why would I do that, though? Just because he's willing to wrap his original loan to me and I cover it. Doesn't, just because there's a creative aspect to it doesn't make it a good deal automatically. I don't know.
I'm agreeing with you. I just have ambulance and police running through downtown Miami here. I don't want to kill the audio.
But like, there's so many ways, and like, I'm still every offer I make is seller financing. Like, it makes sense. I mean, except for this one that I'm going after now, I'm looking at it on a cash basis because, I mean, I hope somebody fucked up on the listing, and I'm trying to snag this thing before anybody realizes he miscounted. He miscounted his lots and his income, and I'm like, okay.
Here we go. This is why I have my calculator.
And that's the thing, though, too. Like, it's really about creative problem solving. So me, as a very like high level thinker, with whatever you think is going to happen with the market, I think you can kind of think of your big play and then with real estate, kind of think of like what solutions you can provide and then just position yourself as that solution. So whether it's helping people in foreclosure, or maybe you have a relationship when those properties get to the bank, like
Yeah.
to get to the level where it's to the
And
banks,
that's the
like
thing, is create those relationships with
exactly.
REO agents. Like, it's tough to know who's going to be an REO agent, okay? Like, you could go look who's currently an REO agent and build relationships with them, but they probably already have some. But it just depends. You could go to like a 5-star conference and network with a bunch of agents if you want, but it's tough to know who's going to be one, because really the assets today aren't going to be the assets tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if a big fund gets in trouble and they're offloading shit, they're going to use a servicing company. They're not going to sit. You're not going to see. I'm making this up, but you're not going to see Invitation Homes selling their stuff themselves. Probably they'll use their servicing company, and they'll use their network of agents to sell off their distressed assets. Who's going to get that pool of assets? You have no idea. But once you see them list one, you go take that guy out to fucking lunch.
Mm-hmm. Get him a nice lunch, nice
And
sushi,
make sure he knows he's double ending the commission. Make sure he knows you're going to make it as easy as possible on him, and do a deal and make it as easy as possible. And he'll be like, bro, I'll work with this guy every single. That's all you got to do. Make their life easy. Perform on what you say you're going to do. Take him out to lunch. Let him earn double commission, bro. He will love you long time. Until you back out of one deal, and then he's on to the next
call
guy.
you again.
Yeah.
Amen.
So anyway, like I think some shit's going down, dude. Like
I kind of have that feeling as well.
Commercial stuff is always the first to tumble. Like it wasn't single family houses that tumbled first, right? It was Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns. It was the banks, the big banks, that started crumbling, and from there it was a trickling effect. Not even that. It was like the dam that broke. All the other things that were being band-aid together, fear just ripped them apart. And I think that's going to happen. Of course, like, I could be wrong, but like, there's the old saying, what goes up must come down. And I think that's the most basic logic that we all try to avoid to make ourselves seem smart. And like, and everyone out here, and I made a post the other day, is like, everyone's out here trying to tell people if you look at the people posting that the market's going to be okay, they're also the people posting trying to raise money to buy a deal or do a flip.
Right. Yeah.
That's funny. So
they
true.
don't want to scare their money away. My post was, you're doing that so you don't scare your money away. I'm over here telling people the market is crashing and trying to raise their money because of that, because mobile home parks are resilient. I'm not saying it's not going to crash around us. I'm going to say, hey, let's put your money where it's not going to get lost.
That's funny.
Like, I would not want to be a private money lender on flips right now.
Another thing I've noticed even this week specifically is some wholesalers that are getting into lending, or they're brokering hard money.
Transaction funding. I've seen a lot, because guess what? They have all this excess money. They made a shit. They've been successful. And now they're transaction funding. I've seen a lot of guys doing. Good for them. Like, that's the next step, John, on our ladder we did with Eric Brewer.
Yeah, I remember the ladder.
The final echelon is private money lending. Like, so when I've been doing research on like my mobile home park syndications, multifamily. You would think no one really talks about this, but the real play isn't being the guy who's putting the deal together and running the deal. You think the operator, or what we call the general partner, is like the one who makes the money? No. The LPs make more money than the GPs. They get like 60 to 70% of the deal. They get 8 pref plus 50-50 of everything above it, depending on the structure, right? They get their money back first. And they don't do anything. There's no headache. They just
it's the most passive and best to be in.
So like, when you get to that level of like being an LP or a private money lender or a transaction funder, a bridge loan provider, like that's like when you're like, all right, let my money work for me now. I think that's good on them, man. Like, good on them, bro. I just don't know if I would want to be giving loans out to flippers in today's market.
It's like playing a game of Jenga. If you guys are familiar with the Jenga, you're hitting the little wood blocks out.
Yeah. I mean, look at Sean Terry when he was on Steve Trang's episode. He let a bunch of his properties go back to the lender. Listen, as a lender, like, do I really want your fucking properties? I just want my money.
Mm-hmm.
I really just want my money back. I don't want all these houses that you've just given back. Thank you for giving me the keys, but like, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll be interesting to
Interesting
see.
times ahead.
Interesting times ahead, and I mean, this is a weekly talk show, so I mean, we'll be talking about the market probably every week, at least mentioning it. So stay tuned, guys, for our in the pulse feedback. We all talk to a lot of people, so it'll be interesting to see. One thing when I'm home, one of my like movies to queue up will be The Big Short to watch that again. That'll be cool to see.
Yeah,
You haven't
99
seen
Homes.
that?
You should watch 99 Homes. That's what I used to do.
99 Homes?
Yeah.
I'll write that down.
When you're kicking people out, like it's good. It's about being like an REO agent down in Orlando.
Is that a movie or where is that? YouTube
it's
or
a
what?
movie. It's a very low budget movie, but a movie nonetheless.
Cool.
Like that was life back in the day when I got into it. I don't know, man. I hope everyone does good. I hope people don't suffer. I hope everyone's very good at their deals. I think you just leave your room in there. And remember, I was still flipping during the downturn. That's when I got into the game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you come down in 09, like prices were still softening. You just got to be really quick. You're not doing a 4-month flip. You're buying it.
Yeah.
You're doing lipstick to it. Lipstick.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you're buying
Really?
it so discounted that no matter what happens, you're good to go. But normally, you're just buying lipstick. You're not doing fancy rehabs. You're just throwing some fucking tile in there, painting the fucking walls, throwing the basic trim. You're in and out, listed on the market like 3 fucking weeks. You try to get an offer, you list it like discounted to everything else, and your numbers better make sense. If everything's selling at 200, you're on the market at 195, and you're like, boom, and you have an offer in 30 days. Because back then the standard was like 45, like 90 days. So like, and you're just trying to move your asset quick. And there you go.
Yeah.
You make your fucking money. You're done. You're out.
Preach.
It's possible. It's possible to survive.
I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting though, because I don't know whose podcast it was. Somebody said that they've talked to, like on their podcast, and a lot of investors, the majority of the people in the game today started post 2012 and 15. Meaning the majority of our investors only have known one thing and one thing only.
Success
And how to do slow flips, high-end flips, you know what I mean? Like putting all this fancy Instagram quality shit together. They weren't here in 08. Now you have people like Steve Trang, Sean Terry, all those guys, but I dare you to find one of them making the mistake again.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Terry Thayer from like North Carolina, that guy who does like tab retreat and stuff. Like he always talks about it. Like he was in the game back in the day. Like I don't think he's going to make that mistake again.
Mm-hmm.
But like all these new guys, like
they'll have to learn. And they'll be around to teach the next generation while Sean Cherry and Steve Trang retire.
yeah, why they're LPs? Why they're LPs in the next generation? Yeah,
they're
sitting back.
throwing money into deals.
Yeah, they're just throwing money
Watching
in deals,
NFL
not
and
operating
chilling.
shit. I know that. When I learned that, I was like, man, that's not a bad thing. Like they make more money than I do.
When pace is something I read this morning before starting the workday here, part of Pace's book, either this morning or last night before bed, is Pace will sometimes pitch, like I guess in a deal where he has the seller essentially becoming the bank.
Yeah.
And he's making that pitch. He kind of sells it as like, you're essentially a bank with the collateral being real estate. And that's the best investment in the world you could ever make. So he's charismatic, amazing sales, just a vibrant guy, and just some of the stuff, even just reading through his book, it's like, oh damn, that makes a lot of sense.
The next best investment from having your money in a real estate investment as like a lender is being a lender on a real estate investment that used to be your real estate investment.
Yeah,
because you know that investment.
Yeah,
so like, it's not like I'm asking
these guys,
like,
and that's what you're pitching. That's what
I'm pitching.
Yeah.
Now, like this one that I'm offering cash on, like it is such a good deal. Like I'm just going to buy it cash and raise the money, but I can't pitch it because the kids are running the deal. The parents have dementia. It's their retirement. So like there's times when that pitch doesn't fucking work. It's
Yeah.
just like, hey,
Mhm.
my parents need this money. Like, yeah, I don't really care. Just give me my $500,000 for this park and like leave me alone. I'm not financing this.
Mhm.
So anyway,
Interesting.
listen, we'll come back in another week or so with some more updates to this. I would love to get some guests on. I would love to bring that Miami guest on. Um,
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Definitely for sure. We got to bring some people on and talk about some updates to texting. I know we've been harping on that. I did get my thing approved finally. I got
And
one.
it's nice.
So they approved. Listen to this. I'm sorry before we go. They approved my fucking campaign that says I'm only texting people that call in and verbally tell me they want to be texted, yada, yada, yada. Okay. That one. That one got
Mhm.
approved. But the one
Hmm.
that got approved that said I am only texting people who are my current tenants, pay me rent, and are asking for maintenance requests, that
Didn't
one
get
got
approved.
denied.
That's funny.
And I'm like, how is that? That's established business, bro. Like, you're literally
Uh-huh.
paying me like you're on my fucking, you're in my park. They won't, they
That's
didn't
not through
approve that.
smartphone, right? That's like you have that
That's
through
no, that's
something
through
else.
that's through smartphone. I use
Okay.
smartphone for our park, for everything, our management line, all that stuff. Even our AI Ops Center's customer service line runs through
Mhm.
smartphone. And then, but what I did notice is now smartphone has updated their website. Now they're adding in, they want your privacy policy and your terms of use
Yes.
policy website URLs, and I don't have one on my main. So I fucked up and we established this in my Realivative brand and not my
Oh yeah.
ROC brand. So my ROC brand is with Carrot, my Realivative brand is with just a basic website. So like now we have to scramble, like, because I did it again, but I don't think it's going to get approved. So I had to put my tenant stuff on this other campaign, and I'm hoping like I don't get in trouble for that. Um, Hopefully T-Mobile's not
Interesting
listening
times we
to me
live in.
right now. It's just wild, dude. But
It is.
Brittany goes, should we just buy another cell phone from Spectrum? It's like $14
Mhm.
a month and just use that. And I was like, let me see if I can figure this out first because like it's
Yeah.
just easier to have this. But
Mm. Yeah, people are scrambling the last 2 weeks,
yeah.
Mhm.
including myself. I didn't get the Just Call. I thought the Just Call number was registered correctly, so I'm just texting people on my
But if
regular
I
old
get in
phone.
trouble, do they cancel those phone numbers? Or do they just cancel my campaign and then I can do a new campaign in
Cancel
the
the
same number?
campaign, which will cancel all the phone numbers underneath the campaign.
So I can no
That's
longer
what they
use
said.
those phone numbers? Oh, that's going to be
I,
trouble.
I don't know. I've yet to talk to somebody that's kind of gone through that process of like, oh, they came at me. How do you recover from that? I'm not sure yet.
Yeah. So I
I
don't
was
think
trying to
I'll
push
ever have
somebody.
that problem. I literally do none of our texting is ever spam related. Now you
Hmm.
might get me on
Yeah.
like a call or something, like when I'm using Smart Dialer to like dial parks, like maybe you'll get me then.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah. On the do not call list.
yeah, but those people are a different breed than regular homeowners. You know what I mean? They're not being spammed nearly as much.
Right.
I don't know. All right. Well, Carlos, listen, bro. You have a
It
phenomenal
travels.
trip at Wholesaling Live. If you find anybody local to the Tampa Lakeland area that is not doing good wholesaling and wants to just be an acquisition agent, you let them know you got a place for them.
Okay.
If you know anyone that wants to hop on this podcast, talk either texting, they want to talk sales, they want to talk PPC versus cold call texting, different ways to market in this changing environment. And if anyone wants to just generally debate the status of inventory levels supporting a declining market in a recessionary environment, I would love to talk to them about that logic.
Okay. Love that. Gladly
Let's do
will.
it. All here at Let's Talk Real Estate.
Also, not to put you
Yeah.
on the spot live here, but I'm going to be in Tampa the following weekend. If you want to venture down, maybe get a Publix chicken tender sub or have a nice
What
cigar or
weekend?
something.
If I don't have my kids that weekend, then yes, because although I have two kids every
It'll be
weekend,
during
I
the
have two
week.
kids.
It'll
Oh,
be
during
during
the
the
week?
week. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, bro. You let me know.
It'll
Publix
be
chicken tenders.
Sunday until Wednesday. I guess I'll leave Wednesday night, but I'll be there like Sunday morning through Wednesday night.
You're talking next
We'll
week?
we'll chat. We'll chat
Okay.
off.
Yeah. We'll chat. We're trying to like. Let me get on my calendar.
Just so people don't try to meet us at Publix to get a
Why
chicken
not?
tender
We'll
sub.
do a Publix fucking meetup, bro.
I would love
That'd be
that.
pretty funny.
All right, guys. Lock and load.
Awesome,
All right,
guys.
folks. We'll see you next week.
Have a great weekend,
Ciao.
guys.